70% of the audience stood up. You got your perspective. I just want to be happy. Don't you want to be happy?
Remember you wanted to talk about family businesses a little while ago?
Mm-hmm.
Did your dad ever do what you do where you take off the 7 weeks of the year? No, right?
No.
So that was kind of like your solve for the whole balance with life and work.
You know, I mean, honestly, I don't judge my dad. I don't think I'm overcompensating for the fact of the matter is, and this is just so insane, literally yesterday, spending the day with my family and kids on a weekday was more weekdays spent with my kids than my dad spent with us until I was 16 years old. Like, so now at the same token, my dad, you know, somewhere around 7th or 8th grade, my dad started coming home at 7 instead of like 10. That I don't do that Monday through Friday. So, you know, I mean, I think ultimately work-life balance and with family businesses, as we start, you know, spend a lot of time on parenting, as we start thinking about, as I'm trying, you know, I think a lot of times people are like, Gary, tell me things that don't come natural. I'm like, sure, things don't come natural to me either. I don't naturally, you know, all the time think of family business stuff from my content standpoint, which is what I'm trying to do for a living. But it's popped up once in a while, the same way that once in a blue moon in January you go out to the gym. Some days you decide to be positive instead of negative. Once in a while you work 12 hours a day. So once in a while I think of something about family businesses and I talk about it. But right now what we're doing, and this is very meta of a video, is I'm trying to be thoughtful of like, hey, this is a subject matter that really matters. There are tens of millions of people in family businesses, hundreds of millions across the world that are going to be able to, you know, that I'm going to be able to add my 2 cents, whether they're, you know, I think they'll be good, but they're just my 2 cents. But taking it out of the meta conversation of what we're doing here, which I think is important for me to, I think there's a way for me to be more thoughtful. Actually, I'm going to do it right now. Another thing, what's good about vacations is there's this whole notion of like breaking the fourth wall. Google it if you don't understand it. So many of you ask me so many questions. The answer is always Google it. Jesus. You know, what does he mean by that? You know, what are the Joneses? Google that shit, baby. If you can't Google stuff, you're not gonna be able to do anything that I'm telling you to do. You know, I think I could do a better job of like breaking my own fourth wall and explaining what I'm doing in real time within it. What I'm doing right now is trying to forcefully, consciously recognize that one of the great pillars that I could be speaking to is family business dynamics. You know, me and my dad, and then me and my brother have architected 2 very successful family businesses. I had a lot of tough days growing up with my dad. I had some, not very infrequent, with my brother. I'm sure they have something to say about it. But most of all, like anything else, I have no interest in being a focus group of one. My experiences aren't your experiences. I think what I've had the luxury of is I've been out and about for the last decade, and especially the last 3 or 4 years, especially the last 2 years, have consumed just an enormous amount of conversations with people from all angles. Dad, son is lazy. Mom, daughter is lazy. Daughter, mom won't let her do anything. Daughter, dad won't let her do anything. Son, mom won't let him do anything. Son, dad won't let them do anything. Lazy, entitled, ownership. You know, there's a lot there. Parents want kids to do certain things but don't recognize they have options, and if they don't give them freedom to do shit, well then that's not going to be exciting. It's going to be worse than doing something else. Kids come in at 22, think that they got good grades in school and that means something, after their parents have been bleeding from their face 15 hours a day, you know, for 23 years, and they walk in like they own the, you know, own the business, and that's laughable. Parents want to navigate and respect employees that have been there for 7, 9, 13, 22 years and not let little Sally come in and just be the CEO from day one. They have to balance that. Sally has to have empathy that employees have been there for 22 years and have helped. How do you think you went on that spring break, Sally? Not only on the back of your parents, but on the back of Carl, who's been the manager for 16 years. So when you walk in day one, don't be a dick, because that's how you got to like funnel beer in Daytona, you know, instead of working. So there's a lot of dynamics. I've got a lot of thoughts. And yeah, I'm excited about talking about family business. Nonetheless, back to the regularly scheduled programs. I don't know, maybe subconsciously it's an overcorrection, but like, I don't, you know, I just want to spend time with them.
Yeah, I was going more for like the whole, because, you know, you saw your dad, and yes, then you saw, then your kids are seeing you, but your kids are not seeing you as much as other people are seeing their kids, meaning like, the way that like,
net volume of time,
volume. But
not quality.
I feel like, you know, you have been off the last few weeks, like really off, like you've been with your family, you've been spending real time with them.
Yes, but I've also been very on to like all of a sudden miraculously deciding I need to be in the baseball card business. Like, so, you know, one thing I never want to do is bullshit the audience. Like, yes, I'm spending time with the family, which is amazing, but my mind is wired a certain way, and just like when the kids are eating or like playing with each other and don't want us, you know, they're getting, you know, like it's not in my DNA to just lay there and listen to Elton John or Skippa the Flippa. Like, it's in my DNA to do something businessy that doesn't have the pressures of the business that I'm running. So the thought process of like really upping my game in my flipping content. I mean, I really had a breakthrough in you know, it's funny, I'm here in Orlando and in DC, which I spoke last week. I really had a breakthrough. I asked the audience, there was a lot of people there, how many people want to make $100,000 a year? And I really got them to that honest place where people weren't trying to showboat. 70% of the audience stood up. 70. So I was like, okay, cool. Now we're in an authentic conversation. Enough with this like $1 million or bust, you know? So I was like, okay. And I was like, fuck man, the flip game is real. I can get you to 100. I can get you to 100 with Craigslist and Letgo and Etsy and eBay. And, you know, and though so many people want me to make the content that helps, I'm looking at Lexus right now, and Nike and DKNY and Coach and New Balance and Steve Madden. This is perfect. All these brands. And about social media and marketing and things of that nature, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was so drawn to, you know, I'm very into my roots.
Yeah.
I'm very into it. I just also know I can do it. I know. It's not glamorous. It doesn't seem like this remarkable, you know, not a genius, not a maven, but I know that I could walk into that Tommy Hilfiger right there, and zoom it, D-Rock, don't be a dick. There you go. I know I could walk into that Tommy Hilfiger outlet store, right? I know that I could search things on completed auctions, not listing price. A lot of people look at what it's listed for, doesn't mean it's sold it for. Completed auction price. Make money.
The 2017 Flip Challenge really helped people.
2017 Flip Challenge helped people. I didn't do a 2018 one, but I think 2019 will be the year of the flip. I literally think I'm very passionate about it. And we're definitely filming this garage sale the first Saturday, and it's gonna be, you're gonna kill it. And then the sports card unpacking thing, and like.
I think it's fun because the people I've talked to, or that I've talked to about the 2017 Flip Challenge, it's not that they then are now just flipping stuff at stores and eBay. They learn the skill of like the Amazon arbitrage, where they buy stuff from China, sell it And then now they're building a business off of that.
Of course, brother. Who do you think I am? I'm gonna buy the New York Jets for billions of dollars on the back of like flipping sports cards. You have to learn. This is a step-by-step game. Everybody tries to get, if I said to somebody, you're gonna win Wimbledon, and they have never played tennis, they think that's ludicrous. Somehow though, people think from zero, never having a business in their life, have always been a student or an employee, that on the motivation of one of my fucking videos, that they're gonna build $1 million business the next day.
And then when he later Brit.
$1 million, making $1 million, forget about even revenue, making $1 million is like winning fucking a tennis tour, like getting to the quarterfinals of Wimbledon cold. Are you gonna really do that, Carl in Jacksonville? Carl, you gonna really just pick up a racket and win fucking Wimbledon? It's the same thing of like, okay, now I'm motivated, now I'm gonna do a business. Yes, you should, but why don't we take one step at a time? And and the reason people don't is because they're 39 and they think it's over. And I'm like, being happy at 52 is really interesting for 36 years. I just don't, the utter lack of practicality is remarkable. The inability to contextualize time is the great vulnerability of so many. You know, I've never been more passionate that kids need to go high risk, high reward, 20 to 30. I've never been more passionate that a 47-year-old single parent with a job and debt and child support and all this stuff can do so much from 7 p.m. to 2. We are not taking advantage of the long tail of the internet because of lack of education of what the opportunity actually is and the lack of patience. And it's just dramatically easier to dwell and complain and point fingers than it is to eat the shit to do it. It's absolutely like exercise. It's a hell of a lot easier to buy miracle pills than to eat right for a year and do the right exercise. It's not super complicated. You know, it's outrageously obvious. Are we sitting in unusual traffic or are we gonna be okay?
Car fire up here, I think. So, not in the good category, but we should be past it soon.
And still make our time?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's another thing I really hate being late. You know, like it's so fun to like watch that. You know, like I feel like people might think you're a showboat, like I love that about you. I love that. You really fucking hate being late.
I don't value my time more than somebody else's, and even more than that, I would hate for somebody to think that. You know, they're like the two most evil things for me. You know what I really dislike? Something I really got to do a better job with is when I have to cancel on somebody 2 or 3 or 4 times. Just the sheer nature of my life right now. We need a better system.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know?